15 lottery winners that ended tragically.
Number 15. Rachel Kennedy and Liam McCrohan. Rachel Kennedy and Liam McCrohan are a young British couple who won a gigantic lottery jackpot in 2021. Almost. Every week, Rachel played exactly the same numbers on her Euro Millions lottery tickets.
That's
She
smart.
was so dedicated, she'd set up her online lottery account to automatically buy a ticket with those numbers. Then, one week, Rachel and Liam checked the lottery draw and couldn't believe their eyes. The winning numbers for the 228 million euro jackpot matched Rachel's numbers.
$228 million? Bro, what are you doing with $228 million? Because I know some states require you to announce that you made or you won. I was going to say the Mega Ball, but I guess there's like a bunch of different lotteries you can play. I know like California requires you to actually basically dox yourself when you win the lottery. So it's like, I mean, let's assume you don't get assassinated. What the fuck are you doing with your money? Because like high key, I mean, what? You have to open a brokerage account? You have to get wired the money? Like you can't deposit it in a bank account because at most you can only get, like if something happens, you can only get refunded like $250,000. Can you imagine throwing your money in the bank and they just come and tell you, yeah, we lost like 227 million of it. Like, bitch, what? So it's like, who do you call? I think you got to chat GPT that shit or something.
They immediately started planning how they were going to spend such a gigantic amount of cash. The young couple realized their lives had changed.
I'd buy so much real estate.
But when Rachel checked her online ticket, she spotted something weird. It wasn't there. She contacted the National Lottery website to find out what happened and got the worst possible news. There had been an error when the automatic ticket purchase was taking place, and the payment never went through. In other words...
Nah, buddy, no, you have to sue. What do you mean the payment didn't go through? No, you're suing. Oh my God. That is the fattest... Dude, there's no way you're not catching a lawsuit.
She didn't have a ticket. They missed out on that mind-blowing sum of money, and there was absolutely nothing they can do about it. It might be the biggest lottery tragedy of all time. But it...
Whoa, wait, let me see this. Hold on, what was the...
They can do about it.
What was the tweet? When your missus decides to not play the Euro Mills and all 7 her usual numbers come up. Wow. Nah, bro, they must have hacked her shit. What the fuck do you mean an error? There's no way. Oh, dude, I can't even imagine the crash out that happened after that. Genuinely can't even imagine. You know what's funny? I think my first... Actually, I'm not even going to say my first 3 numbers. By far my luckiest. I can't just hand those out. Absolutely not. But dude, oh, the crash out after that had to be immense. Everything would be destroyed. My God.
Biggest lottery tragedy of all time. But at least their lives didn't change. The next winner lost more than he won. Number 14. Daniel Carley. Canadian Daniel Carley won the Ontario Lottery at the most perfect moment ever. He was just about to marry the woman of his dreams, who also happened to be pregnant with their first child. He had a pretty perfect life already, but when he won an incredible 5 million Canadian dollars, or about 4.4 million US dollars, he was given the kind of financial stability that most new parents can only dream of.
True.
And his life would have...
Bro, if you make $5.5 million, which is like, don't get me wrong, that is a ridiculous amount of money. I don't know if it's money you necessarily want to like live off of, because you know you got, I mean, it says he had a child coming up, so you got to think about college, you got to think about maybe their retirement, you got to think about, you know, you kind of want to use that money to create generational wealth. And at most, I mean, if you know, to like let's just say your future generation aren't just completely spoiled brats, then you know you could probably flip it to like 5 generations, like $1 million each, you know, again, given that they aren't complete idiots. And that's it, you know, you'd probably have to give them that money when they turn 18. The first thing I hear when somebody wins the lottery is that you don't want to tell nobody, especially your kids, because then they might become, you know, they might feel entitled or some shit. But bro, I mean, I'm throwing that into the NASDAQ, S&P 500. You probably have to get like, what, do you get a team to manage that money? You probably have to hire of like, what, 5 mil, maybe like 2 individuals to try and flip that into 10?
Been perfect if he'd used his money that way. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. Instead, he and his friends gathered at his dad's bar for a celebration party. That would have been just fine. But when the party ended, Daniel didn't want to stop. So he didn't. Over the next 10 years, he partied all his money away.
Bro partied $5.5 million in 10 years? What the fuck fuck are you doing? What is 5 million divided by 10? Hold on, that's way too many zeros. Bro was spending $500,000 a year? Jesus Christ, nah.
It won't surprise you that his young wife left to look after his child in a more stable environment. His friends didn't want to know this out-of-control version of Daniel, so they disappeared from his life too. It wasn't long before he ran out of money, and when that happened, he turned to drugs again. But this time, he was selling them. He was eventually arrested and sent to prison for his crimes.
You literally just had to throw that in like a brokerage account and into like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. Literally just work a regular ass job every few months. Like each month, you just work a regular 9 to 5, even like maybe a few hours less than usual. Okay, you just have some sort of income and pull out a little money from interest that you occur with the S&P 500 or NASDAQ, and you would literally create generational wealth doing absolutely nothing and live a very, very comfortable life. How do you fumble this bad?
Daniel chose a path that led him to losing his perfect life. But sometimes, lottery winners do everything right, and their story still ends in tragedy. That's what happened to the next winner on our list. Number 13. Francisco Guerrero. Francisco Guerrero had been a hard worker his whole life. He'd worked as a bricklayer in Spain, slowly earning himself enough money to support his family, and even buying more than one house. That's pretty impressive. After all that hard work, it almost feels like he'd earned his lottery win. He hit a jackpot worth about $8.6 million.
Jesus
Christ.
But
he wasn't the partying type, and he didn't know what to do with all that cash. So he figured the most responsible thing to do was to take it to the bank. That's the advice lottery winners.
I don't think taking it to the bank is the smartest idea, just because, like I said again, the bank can only cover $250,000 if some shit happens. If I hear the bank just lost bro's money, I'm gonna crash the fuck out.
Are always given, so it sounds like a pretty good decision. The experts at the bank told him to invest 40% of his winnings and put the rest into a savings account for his children. That sounded like a good idea to him, and he left his money in their hands. He continued going to work and lived his life the way he did before winning the lottery.
This is so sad because I'm hearing like all the right things besides the bank. Like, dude kept his job. He was probably gonna live off of the interest. Like, this is what I just said.
After all, he was pretty happy that way. But then something went wrong. He suffered a serious injury to his knee that meant he needed expensive surgery. Luckily, he had millions in that savings account thanks to his lottery winnings. He went down to the bank to withdraw some of his cash, but he was shocked to discover the account was totally empty. What he learned next would horrify anyone. The bank had put 40% of his winnings into a terrible investment. They told him there were no risks, but they were totally wrong. Not only had they lost his investment, but they'd got him into serious debt. To pay it off, they used all the cash in the savings account meant for his kids, and they'd even lost all the properties he'd earned through hard work. That's the perfect example of how many things can go wrong when you hit the lottery.
There's no way. There's no way you're not catching a fucking lawsuit. I am suing the sewer. Are you kidding? The bank put him in debt out of something they did. They invested 40%. The investment was so bad that it put him in debt, and they needed to use his savings to flip the debt and lost his properties. This has to be like a bank. No. Like it had to have been created like maybe a few months before. Like there's no fucking way. There's no way. How? I don't even understand how that's possible. Did they put it in a meme coin? They must have invested his shit in like it had to be. It was like Pepe coin or fucking Dab coin. What are those coins? I'm saying like the oldest, like the shit that the memes that have died off. They had to have invested in some shit like that. Cause what the fuck? 8.8 mil the bank? Oh, buddy. I'd fight. Like, I mean, someone would have to get fired multiple times. There's no way. I can't. Wow, I couldn't fathom that.
It's pretty sad when someone loses everything because of someone else's mistake. But this next winner definitely caused their own downfall. Number 12.
Dude, that makes me angry just thinking about
Evelyn
it.
Basor.
Insane.
You could say Evelyn Basor was one of the luckiest people who ever lived. That's because she won the lottery not once, but twice. And her 2 wins happened within just 4 months of each other. The first win in 1985 was worth a whopping $3.9 million. And the second,
that's
the
comfortable.
next year, was another
comfortable.
$1.4 million. That's a lot of cash.
Hold on, wait. It was 3.9 and 1.4. So she won. Oh hell no, man. Like 6.5? Man, I don't even fucking know. It's around there though. It's not 6. I'm stupid as fuck. It's like 4.6 or 4.5, somewhere around there. I don't know my math. What the fuck you do?
Now,
what you do with
but
all
it was
that
worth
money?
even
All that
more
money?
then. She could have done nearly anything with it. So what did she choose to do? Well, she took it to the casino. I guess she figured her luck worked for her in the past.
Bro, like I feel like some people need to comprehend how it is you attain your money and what that means for your lifestyle. If you have a wealthy man's income, or a wealthy person's income, you can live a wealthy lifestyle. If you have a subpar income, you should be living a subpar lifestyle. That it means nothing how much money you have in your bank account, because buddy, you gonna need that for your kids. You might need that for an emergency. You might need that shit just to make, I don't know, make ends meet each month with interest. Like, bitch, you need to put stuff aside. How much she gambled? Like, all of it?
And she'd make even more money. But she was wrong. Her winning streak was over, and the last time anyone heard of her, she was living in a trailer park and working 2 jobs to pay for food.
Jesus
That's a pretty
Christ.
irresponsible way to spend your lottery winnings. But she's not the only winner who blew all her cash.
Bro, and what hurts more is that she didn't fumble once, but twice. And you know what's crazy? That first winning she had between like those 4 months, she was probably low. She needed to re-up for sure. That's the only reason she got that second win. Just to add to the addiction. God damn.
Here's another one. Number 11. Michael Carroll. At the tender age of just 19, British teen Michael Carroll won the lottery. He collected the $14 million with a police ankle bracelet still around his leg.
Bro's literally looking up to God to watch over all his bad choices. Oh God.
Probably gives you a good idea of what happened next. He spent wildly buying a mansion he didn't like and spending even more on fixing it up. He built a demolition derby racetrack in the back garden where he'd destroy luxury cars. He was starting the day with cocaine and vodka for breakfast, and he spent millions on sex parties in the mansion, even though he had a wife and
Jesus.
child. Soon, his family and friends had left him.
He has a wife and kid doing this shit? Dude, I'm sorry. This dude's a fucking loser. Are you kidding?
Because he was behaving so badly. Lucky for him, when he went broke, his wife decided to take pity on him, and she came back. That's a surprisingly happy
She came back at his Why? Why would you do that? Is it because he sold all his assets and somehow scraped by?
ending, considering he said he'd be dead by now if he still had the money. But not everyone gets their life back after.
Jesus Christ,
Just
bro.
ask. Number 10. Andrew Jack Whitaker. Andrew Whitaker was living a pretty comfortable life before he won the lottery.
314 million? Dude, you can't, there's a certain amount of money you can have, right? Where I feel like you just can't fail. And 314 million is by far up there. How the fuck do you mess up with 314 million dollars? I mean, based off what the guy said, he fucking died. But I mean, like, what?
He already had 17 million that he'd earned himself. There's no doubt.
Oh,
that's
he was
impressive.
locked in.
But his fortune skyrocketed when he got lucky and won the lottery too. His win was a gigantic $315 million.
Jesus
You'd think that
Christ.
because he was pretty rich already, he would have known how to keep that money.
Facts.
But fate had other plans. Criminals got the better of him, totally emptying his bank account with several robberies.
Several? I mean, like, and this is what I'm talking about, bro. Like, why would you keep your money at the bank? They can only reimburse you for $250,000. You should be opening up like multiple accounts with a maximum $250,000 in each. I mean, like, you just have to open a brokerage. Like, you have to have a brokerage account. Multiple brokerage accounts. Dude, that's terrifying. Like, real talk. What do you do? What do you do with that much money? I gotta ask ChatGPT. I just made 300 and what, 15 it was? What do I do? First off, congratulations. That's life-changing amount of money. What you do next is crucial. Here's a step-by-step breakdown of what to do before you make any major decisions. Step 1, breathe, tell no one. I feel like this is already bad advice because you did it. Like, I feel like you have to tell somebody. There's no pot, like me, like knowing myself, okay? There's no shot I'm not telling my fam. And then next is assemble a trusted team. Like, who do you call though? You'll want to be quiet, building a team of experts, CPA, certified public accountant for tax planning, attorney, ideal with experience with estate planning and large windfalls, and then fiduciary financial advisor. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Who charges a fee, not commissions, and works in your best interest. Okay, and then what do you do next? Protect your identity and safety. That literally just depends on where you live, because in certain states they require you to reveal that you won the lottery. I do know this. I know it's in California. I'm not sure if it's anywhere else. It could be in New York. I wouldn't be surprised. And then consider changing your phone number and improving digital security. You might even want to set up a trust or LLC before claiming using. That's kind of smart. Because, bro, you got to be ready for lawsuits. People are going to be suing your ass out the wazoo. Understand your tax liability depending on where the money came from. Dude, I think I would genuinely faint if I saw how much money I'd have to pay in taxes. You know, this is actually, like, not the worst advice. Except for, like, maybe the don't tell nobody, because, like, you got to tell somebody. Bro, I feel like if you are so paranoid to the point where you can't trust anybody, you are like bound to lose your money. You are absolutely bound to use your money or lose your money.
Within just 4 years, he was totally broke. He'd even lost the millions of dollars he'd had before winning the lottery. He's not the only winner who was taken advantage of. This next winner was also treated
He was taken
pretty
advantage
badly.
of? Jesus Christ.
Number 9, Callie Rogers. Back in 2003, Callie Rogers was living in foster care and working at a supermarket. Then, she suddenly made headlines when she became the world's youngest ever lottery winner. She was only 16 at the time, but she now had an incredible $2.3 million in the bank.
Bro, if she was 16 with $2.3 million in the bank again, bro, she just threw that shit in oh my God, bro. Why didn't she throw that? Like, why didn't she go to an account firm or something? Because that's money a normal ass account firm can handle. She's 16, bro. She could have. 16 with like what, 8% coming in each year? She could be making $184,000 a year just off of interest. You know, hypothetically. What the fuck are people doing?
The British teen totally changed her life with that money, but sadly,
I hope it. I'm
way.
sorry. I hope it wasn't on that tattoo, because what the actual fuck is that?
She started spending it on crazy stuff with no role models to help her make good decisions. She also developed a drug habit, and her strange lifestyle made her depressed.
Jesus.
That led her to spend tons of cash on plastic surgery, hoping to feel a little better about herself. But it didn't help. She said the money made her feel like nobody cared about her, because she would buy drinks for people in bars who were only talking to her so they can get a story they could sell to tabloids. She lost every cent she won, and now campaigns to try to change the minimum age for lottery players.
Bro, and this is what I'm talking about. I feel like you need a purpose. Like, even if you win the lot, like, you need a purpose in life just to, like, you can't just live off the bread. Like, what are you doing? You need some kind of drive. And 16 is crazy too. Where are your parents, bro?
Luckily, Callie says she's much happier now she doesn't have the money anymore. She's also a proud mom of 3. But what about this?
Okay, high key though, just looking at that picture.
She doesn't have the money anymore. She's also
She looked like she living pretty good. I mean, it doesn't look like she lost everything.
a proud mom of 3. But what about this next teenage lottery winner?
She's come out the best so
Number
far.
8, Jane Park. Jane Park was earning just $9 an hour at an office job in 2013.
Listen, I know nothing about makeup.
Jane Park was earning
I know nothing about makeup, but goddamn, that is a lot of foundation. Bro, look at her shoulders and look at her face. She looked like she put the gold camo skin on her face. What the fuck is that? What pigment is that? I'm so sorry.
just $9 an hour at an office job in 2013. It was her birthday, and she decided to treat herself to her first ever lottery ticket. Incredibly, that ticket hit the jackpot. She won the equivalent.
Bro, I literally bought a lottery ticket like maybe a month or two ago. First ever. That is the exact feeling I was getting. I was like, you know what? In my 25 years of living, I have never once got a lottery ticket. I've never seen anyone close to me get a lottery ticket. I said, why the fuck not? Let's do it. Bro, I bought one. Didn't get shit.
Of 1.3 million thanks to the Euro Millions lottery, and she was only 17 years old. Unfortunately, instead of using it to start her adult life so she could follow
Again, a
her
million
dreams,
isn't all that
she
much.
just spent it. Her first purchase was a Louis Vuitton handbag, and that was pretty much how she continued. She bought luxury cars, holidays, and even plastic surgery. It didn't take long before her crazy lifestyle stopped being fun.
Bro, like, I'm sorry, you're 17 with $1 million. That shit's going by so fast. That shit is going by so fast, and all you had to do was just throw it in the bank and make interest each month. You dead ass could have been a teenager making 6 figures a year. Jesus, dude.
She said she began to feel depressed and very lonely.
Actually, with $1 million, maybe
she
not
could move back
6.
in with her mom and try to get her life back on
Actually,
track.
no, maybe.
Her mom had
maybe.
been pretty clever.
Kinda
And
depends.
had made sure she put some of Jane's winnings into a savings account. So Jane still had some of her millions. And like Callie, she also campaigns to get the minimum legal age for playing the lottery changed. She says she was just too young to handle it. Jane and Callie might be right. Maybe
What
teenagers
is
don't
the
have
minimum
the maturity
age
to
to
manage that much
play the
cash.
lottery?
But our next winner
Is it
proves that
13?
adults can be pretty irresponsible too. Number 7. Keith Go. Keith Go was 58 when he won the lottery.
9
he was
mil.
a happily married
That's a
baker
hefty
when
sum.
he hit the UK National Lottery jackpot. He went home with winnings equal to $12 million. He could have retired
damn.
with that money, but instead, he decided to spend it. All he wanted to do was drive fast cars, bet tons of cash on horse racing, spend time in his private executive box at Aston Villa
Bro, this
Football
shit is
Club,
so sad.
and drink loads of alcohol. That's when the real problem
This shit
started.
is so sad.
Tragically, his alcohol addiction finally got so bad that his wife was forced to leave him. That wasn't an easy decision. They loved each other, and splitting up really hurt them both. Before Keith won the lottery, they had been looking forward to retiring and living a peaceful life together. Sadly, soon after his wife left, Keith passed away due to a heart attack.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think there was all that much love at the end of that. Like, I mean, they both seem pretty, like, they were in their maybe like 50s, like late 50s when he won the lottery, and you're telling me like he just became a full-on alcoholic? I mean, dude, she had to have been 60 leaving his ass. Like, shit was not, there was no love, no shot.
Most people are pretty sure he died of a broken heart. Keith isn't the only lottery winner to die as a result of what he chose to do with his money. But this next story is much weirder. Number 6. Justin Ryder.
Oh,
Justin Ryder's
Jesus
lottery win
Christ.
wasn't as big as most people on this list. He only got $600,000, but he wasn't worried.
Bro, you can do so much with 600,000. I'm telling you, bro, just work a regular ass job. Work a regular job and let that bitch grow. Sooner or later, you will get the life you want.
To him, that was just his chance to afford his ultimate dream. Don't even try to guess what it was. It's too crazy. Justin had watched the classic Austin Powers film Goldmember, and it had given him an idea. He wanted a gold member of his own. So he went out and spent his lottery winnings on some gold paint. And when he got home, he'd happily dipped his nether regions into it. Then he just went on with his life as normal, glad that he achieved his dream. But it wasn't long before he realized something didn't feel right. So he went back to the store and bought another tin of paint. This time, he chose the more expensive option, which was colored with real gold. But weirdly, he chose not to wash off the first coat before redipping. That was his big mistake. The first pot of paint he'd bought was lead-based paint, and the toxic ingredient was slowly absorbing into his bloodstream. Sadly, he was found dead soon after.
Wait, whoa, what? Was he painting it on himself or like his clothes? So first he got some cheap-ass gold chrome paint, and then he got some real-ass chrome cold paint, but didn't remove the first layer, put that shit on top of his stuff, and it got absorbed into his bloodstream, and he died. That has got to be the stupidest shit I have ever heard. Like, what?
Cause of death was lead poisoning. He's not the only lottery winner who didn't do enough research before spending his winnings. Here's another one that made a big mistake by not reading the fine print.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like, that's sad, but like, what that is such a weird way to go out.
Number 5. John McGinnis. Back in 1997, John McGinnis was working as a hospital porter when he hit the UK National Lottery jackpot. His winnings were equal to about $16.4 million, which was a ton of cash back in the 90s. He was pretty generous with his winnings, but he also used some to buy luxuries for himself. But he wasn't spending too widely, definitely not enough to go broke. He decided to spend some of his fortune on his biggest passion, football. So he bought a whole team. It cost him $4.9 million. That's a lot of cash, but he still had loads left, except for one mistake. He had no idea that by buying the team, he was accepting personal responsibility for their debts. Within 12 years, the team's debts had eaten through every cent John had won, plus his own personal savings he'd earned before winning the lottery.
Okay, real talk though, what are you spending on a football team? Like, I know there's a shit ton of money that goes through football teams, but what are you spending? What is that money going to? What are you spending? There's equipment. Like what? There's like the shins, the shoes, the gears, training, actual fields. What else are you spending? Like transportation? What are they taking, PJs?
He tried to follow his passion, but ended up broke instead. There's no shortage of lottery winners like John, who acts.
But I feel like you could still sell the team, no? Or did he have to? He probably had to sell the team to make up for the debt. The debt was probably even more than he had.
Accidentally picked up a really bad deal. Here's another British winner who made a bad British choice. Number 4. John Roberts. John Roberts was so poor before winning the lottery that he was living in government housing in Scotland because he couldn't afford to pay rent. We can only imagine what it must have felt like to suddenly win over $5 million. Unfortunately, he didn't really know what to do with all that cash, so he started buying any luxury item he could dream of. But that wasn't his biggest mistake. One day, 2 of his friends came to him with a business deal. They easily convinced him to invest. John loved the idea of going into business with friends, except they weren't really his friends. Sadly, they'd lied about the investment, and they took off with the last of John's money. Just 3 years after his big win, he was broke and living in a mobile home.
Dude, like, why? I get, like, not a lot of people understand, like, about investments, and it's like, what do you do? But it's like, if you don't understand what's going on, then hire somebody that does. Seriously, hire somebody that does know what he's doing.
It's definitely true. You gotta be careful when
I don't know why we gotta just, like, take all this cash and run with it with blind faith.
Number 3. Marie Holmes. Marie Holmes was a single mom who was working 3 jobs to put food on the table. Then, in 2015, she got lucky when her North Carolina Powerball ticket won her a whopping $188 million.
Stop fucking playing. First off, you got 3 jobs. You're a hard-working woman. How do you fuck this up? How? I can't comprehend. Remember when I was talking about there's a certain amount of money you can have where I just feel like you can't fuck up no matter which way you go? This is one of them, bitch. 188 mil?
That was her share of a larger $564 million jackpot that was split between 3 winners. Her problem started straight away when her family accused her of stealing the ticket. They'd said Marie's mom was actually the one who chose the numbers. It turned out they were right. Marie thought it was a quick pick ticket, but her mom had carefully chosen the numbers for her. But luckily for Marie, her mom said she wanted her to have the ticket. After that, Marie's life only got worse. She tried to do something good by giving money to her church, but the priest sued her for not giving them as much as she'd said at the start.
The priest sued her? Priests sue people? The Holy Father of the church just sued your ass? Are you for real?
Then she started spending way too much cash, and she kept having to bail her heroin trafficker boyfriend out of prison. Brace yourself.
Sorry.
The cash she spent on his bail added up to a mind-blowing $21 million.
21 million to bail his ass out? Dude, let him rot. How many, like, I'm sorry. How many times? Not even husband. Boyfriend? How much heroin was he ingesting into his... Actually, that's probably not even, like... How do you get caught that many times? That is the most insane thing I've ever... my brain is short-circuiting.
Crazy, right? It didn't work. He still got a prison sentence in the end. You'd think he would at least be grateful, but he
fucking went to jail anyways. Oh my God. Like, he must be playing a game. How fast... how fast can I make her money disappear? He's fucking doing a magic trick.
Sued her from prison when she sold some of the expensive gifts she bought him. She's basically broke these days. Marie was betrayed by a lot of people.
He had the audacity to sue her after? Dude, I'm about to crash the fuck out. Cause like, I know it's not my money, but just like the audacity. The fucking priest and then the boyfriend you already dropped 21 mil on?
He clearly didn't deserve to be sued for generously giving people money, but this next winner did the opposite and caused her own problems. Number 2. Tanya Lynn Dickerson. This story started in Waffle House. The group of waitresses who worked there had become pretty close over the years, and they decided they would buy some lottery tickets together. The idea was that each one would buy a ticket, and if any of the tickets won, they'd split the winnings between them. It was a nice thought, even if none of them expected to win. But they were wrong. One of the waitresses checked her ticket the next day and realized it was worth $10 million. There was just one problem. Tonda was the holder of the winning ticket, and she decided she didn't want to share.
Split it.
Obviously, the other waitresses were pretty unhappy about that. Not only had they lost out on their money, but they had also been betrayed by someone they thought was their friend. So they got together and sued Tonda. Unfortunately, they lost the case, and Tonda got away with all the cash. By then, the boss from Waffle House had heard what she'd done. He couldn't believe she treated her friends like that and got away with it. So he tried to get some justice for the waitresses. He sued Tonda, saying the waitress had promised to buy him a new truck if they—
Dude, like, I am baffled by the amount of people that just come after you win a sum of money. Like, I understand, like, right, what she did was shitty, right? But at the end of the day, she won the fucking ticket. Hearsay, fucking, we were supposed to share it, like— The team, the people that were involved already tried their best. Now the fucking owner of the Waffle House is coming after her?
Won. The case went all the way to Supreme Court, but Tonda eventually won again. She nearly got away with it, but then she slipped up. Tonda decided to protect her money by opening a corporation. That would have been safe, except that she gifted shares of the corporation to her family. That was a big mistake because she didn't realize those shares qualified for gift tax. The IRS came after her when they realized the tax hadn't been paid, and she was forced to hand over $1 million. So none of her friends got the share of the money, but at least she had to pay something. She's not even the only lottery winner who was meant to share the cash but tried to take it all for herself.
So she got 10 mil and she just had to pay like $1 million because of the IRS? Like, I mean, it seems like she still kind of won. I mean, yeah, $1 million is fucking bad shit crazy. That's 10%, but like, I mean, better than losing it all. It doesn't sound like she lost it all.
Jesus. Winner on our list got what was coming to her though. Number 1. Denise Rossi. Denise Rossi got super lucky one day when she hit the lottery jackpot. She won $1.3 million. That's pretty amazing news.
Not
so
bad
you'd
at
think
all.
the first thing
Not
she would have
shabby.
done is tell her husband. After all, they've been married for 25 years. But she had other plans. She kept her win a secret, and instead of celebrating with her husband, Thomas, she asked for a divorce.
She divorced her husband for 1.3 mil or 1.5 mil or whatever the fuck it was? Over $1 mil?
She said later she didn't want him to get any of the money. She just wanted it all for herself and was happy to break up their marriage to get her way. But it didn't work. During her divorce proceedings, someone found out what she'd done, and that information really counted against her. According to the law, not disclosing the lottery win counted as fraud. In the end, she was ordered to pay all of her winnings to her now ex-husband. All these winners missed out on changing their lives one way or another, but it doesn't have to be that way. Take a look at our list of the smartest lottery winners in the world to see how to handle your lottery winnings the right way.
First off, it's devious to try and divorce your significant other just because you won like a significant amount of money, which, like, let's be like, 1.3 mil is a shit ton of money. But not a fuck enough to divorce your loved one. What the fuck? Not even close. I mean, honestly, the husband ate, bro. The husband ate. He came off scot-free, bro. Bro actually left the divorce case with all the bread. That is insane. That is actually insane. W video. Hey, YouTube, if you guys did enjoy, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.